Welcome to Media Mosaics. Our videos aim to inform and inspire. In this video, we will delve into the topic of what you might expect to see and do on a river cruise along the Douro River in Portugal. We encourage you to subscribe to our channel and share your thoughts in the comments. Cruising on the Douro River in Portugal is a breathtaking experience for many reasons. First off, the scenery is absolutely stunning. As you glide along the river, you're surrounded by terraced vineyards, quaint villages, and lush green landscapes. The Douro Valley is a UNESCO World Heritage Site known for its picturesque beauty, and from the deck of a cruise ship, you get to see it all up close and personal. Another reason is the laid-back atmosphere. Cruising on the Douro River is like taking a leisurely journey through time. You can relax on deck with a glass of local wine in hand, soaking in the serene surroundings. The pace of life slows down, allowing you to fully immerse yourself in the beauty of the region. Moreover, the cultural experiences along the way are unbeatable. From visiting historic wine estates to exploring charming riverside towns, there's always something fascinating to discover. You can learn about the rich history of winemaking in the Douro Valley and sample some of the finest wines the region has to offer. And don't forget about port wine. Although Portugal and the Douro offer great table wines, this is the country and region where port originates from. The Douro Valley region in Portugal is the home to port wine. This beautiful valley, located in northern Portugal, is where the grapes used to make port wine are grown. The Douro Valley has a long history of winemaking, dating back centuries, and is renowned for its unique natural environment, which includes steep terraced vineyards along the banks of the Douro River. The specific process of making port wine, including fortification with grape brandy to stop fermentation, also originated in the Douro Valley. This method was developed in the 17th century as a way to preserve wine for long sea voyages, as Portugal was a major exporter of wine to England and other countries at the time. Over the centuries, port wine has become synonymous with Portuguese culture and is celebrated around the world for its rich flavor and heritage. Today, the Douro Valley is a UNESCO World Heritage Site, recognized for its important role in the history of winemaking. So in summary, port wine has its roots firmly planted in the beautiful Douro Valley region of Portugal, where the tradition of crafting this unique and delicious wine continues to thrive to this day. Let's get into a typical itinerary that river cruise lines offer on the Douro River. Many river cruise itineraries kick off with a few land-based days in Lisbon, allowing travelers to gently adjust to the local time zone and recover from jet lag. This also serves as a perfect introduction to the vibrant culture, history, and cuisine of Portugal. Lisbon, the dynamic capital, is filled with charm and character, making it the ideal starting point for any Portuguese adventure. As you wander through Lisbon's historic neighbourhoods like Alfama and Bairro Alto, you'll discover narrow cobblestone streets lined with colourful buildings, cosy cafes and breathtaking viewpoints over the city and the Tagus River. Noteworthy landmarks such as Belém Tower, St. George's Castle, and Hieronymites Monastery offer a glimpse into Portugal's maritime heritage. The city's culinary scene is equally impressive, with must-try dishes including Portuguese custard tarts and fresh seafood, complemented by exquisite local wines. Starting your journey in Lisbon also means enjoying a seamless transition to your Douro River cruise. With Lisbon's proximity to Porto, the usual starting point for these cruises, you can easily move from exploring the capital to embarking on a scenic voyage through the stunning Douro Valley. Additionally, most river cruise lines provide guided tours and have representatives available in Lisbon to assist you. Whether you choose to join a planned excursion or explore independently, Lisbon offers the perfect blend of sightseeing, relaxation, and gastronomy to start your river cruise adventure. Many river cruise itineraries include a stop in Coimbra, the enchanting city nestled between Lisbon and Porto. During your visit, you can enjoy lunch at a local restaurant, complemented by a live fado performance. Additionally, a visit to the University of Coimbra, a UNESCO World Heritage Site and one of the oldest universities in continuous operation in the world, is highly recommended. Now you have warmed yourself up to the Portuguese culture found in Lisbon. You are off to Porto to join the main event of your cruise vacation. You are headed off to board your ship and experience the city of Porto before you sail on the Douro River. Porto, Portugal's second largest city, holds a place of great traditional importance. The city shares its name with the port wine produced in the region and has a rich past. Its historic centre is a UNESCO World Heritage Site. Most river cruise ships visiting Porto will actually dock at the Douro River Cruise Terminal located across the river in Vila Nova de Gaia. The city of Porto is a stone's throw across the river or an invigorating walk across the Dom Luís Bridge. In Vila Nova de Gaia, you may be docked right beside a Sandeman Port winery cellar that was built in 1797. You may have a tour offered of this historical site by your cruise line, or you could consider signing up for one yourself. Why not start your journey in the Porto area, touring what is a large part of Porto's history? For those who have sailed on river longships in the past, will be surprised to see that the river ships sailing the Douro River are much shorter and in fact about half the length of a traditional river ship. This also means half the passengers on the ship. Why? These ships for the Douro River are purpose-built to fit into the 5 or more locks that you will transit during your cruise. These locks will not fit a traditional longship. You will get an opportunity to get up close and personal with these locks as the river ships just fit in these locks like a snug shoe. You will experience almost all the locks on your journey, however. In some cases, you will leave for excursion from one port and return to another port, and the ship will have navigated the lock while you were sightseeing.
I don't need to worry. I think I don't need to worry.
From this point forward, we will share potential tours that you might experience or consider booking along the Douro River and the beautiful scenery that goes with your journey along the Douro. Many cruise itineraries offer a panoramic tour of the second largest city. Porto can be called the City of Granite thanks to the frequent use of granite in its architecture. You will witness old-world charm with the narrow cobblestone streets, Baroque-style churches and the Romanesque cathedral. You could also look for tours that include a variety of unique experiences, visiting the Quinta da Aveleda wine estate in the quaint town of Penafiel just outside of Porto, taking a helicopter ride over Porto to admire the seemingly endless bridges over the Douro River, exploring historic Guimarães, often referred to as the birthplace of the Portuguese nation and the nation's first capital city, or visiting the beautiful 1890s lodge of William and John Grahams in Vila Nova de Gaia, where they have been refining the art of port making since 1820. One site not to be missed in Porto is the São Bento train station. This station is adorned with hand-painted tiles that depict historical Portuguese life scenes. One of the most beautiful displays of Portuguese tile making, you might find yourself bumping into others as you walk with your eyes on the tiles instead of where you're walking. Head back to your ship and say so long but not goodbye to Porto. As with most cruise lines, you will return to Porto for the end of your Douro River cruise.
Because I've seen it going wrong many times, not with Andra. We have the most wonderful bar manager here, and she's very experienced. I think you open every bottle at home like this.
Yeah, sure.
Does this actually cut the glass?
Yes, it's a thermic shock, very hot with ice cold water.
Your next port of call is the peaceful town of Paço da Regua, commonly known as Regua. This town overlooks the Douro River with the Serra do Marão Mountains as the background. This town is steeped in wine-making history and is the home of the Port Wine Institute. Many wine drinkers will recognize Mateus wine as a famous and widely available Portuguese wine. You may have the option to visit the Mateus Palace and Gardens, and this estate home is actually portrayed on the Mateus Rosé wine label. You may also have the option to attend a port wine blending and tasting while in Regua. An alternate tour may be a journey back in time and a visit to the St. John Monastery in Tarouca. You will visit a number of towns and villages on this tour and visit some of Portugal's rare hidden gems. Barca d'Alva is the last Portuguese town on the Douro River and is just a few hundred yards from the Spanish border. You will note the cherry almond and olive groves lining the banks of the river. You will also witness more terraced vineyards that climb the riverbanks and create scenes of beauty before your eyes. You might indulge in an excursion to Castelo Rodrigo, a tiny historical village that time seems to have forgotten. In this small medieval fortress town, you will admire the cobblestone streets and wander among the 16th century houses, and all this is at 2,200 feet above sea level. Most cruise lines remain overnight in Barca d'Alva and offer an excursion to Salamanca, Spain. You have not really traveled that far on the Douro River overall, as you are typically just traveling where the Douro runs through Portugal. Generally speaking, you only have one option for Salamanca, as there is a 1.5 hours bus ride each way to reach Salamanca, Spain. Spend your time wandering the streets of Salamanca and discovering all that this city has to offer. It is a worthwhile way to spend your day. You will come home with great memories of this university town. Reboard your river ship after your time in Barca d'Alva and Salamanca. Barca d'Alva is likely where your ship will turn back towards Porto. You will make a couple of stops in familiar ports, but the excursions that will be offered will be new and exciting from the ones you did before. You are not backtracking to duplicate your time. Pinhao is located between the Douro and the Pinhao rivers and is in the epicenter of the Douro Valley's port winemaking region. During your time in Pinhao, you may consider the following excursions. You may have an option to head to the town of Favaios, which has one of the last traditional bakeries in the Douro Valley. Bread is still made in the historic traditional way in an open oven heated with wood and old grapevines. You may have the option to try some freshly baked bread.
Thank you.
While in Favaios, you can also visit their local museum of wine and bread to learn the importance of these industries to this area. You may also choose to travel to a close-by estate, Quinta da Avesada, where you will meet the dedicated vintners and tour the wine cellars and enjoy a tasting of local varieties of port from this region.
It's very good.
Often offered as an optional excursion is a journey to Quinta das Cavalhas, 1,800 feet above the Douro River. Here you may learn about the microclimates that vintners have on the slopes of the Douro River that allow them to produce rich and complex wines. You may alternatively opt to visit the town of Lamego.
Naturally, you say bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Muito bem, tenho que andar agarrado nessa chuva.
Então não era mais fácil uma bengala?
Olha, andar com a bengala ou andar com isto é a mesma coisa.
É?
É em parada.
Pronto.
Anda uma pessoa em parada.
I am asking if he was going to water the potatoes and he tells no. This is only because I need help to walk. Yes. You drink the coffee and then you eat the cup. This is some cookie. Isso é bolacha. It's a cookie.
E tem bolacha cookie e tem
E tem chocolate dentro. Oh. Please.
Tem que tomar.
Okay, you have to drink it, otherwise it will melt. Our host, Antonio.
Bom dia.
Hello, Dudu. Bom dia.
And it was renovated to be an accommodation tourism house. This building here is the chapel. It's from the 17th century. It was built after, and our host was baptized here in this chapel.
River ships on the Douro River most often cruise during daylight hours and only for a short time each day, leaving lots of time for your excursions. What is amazing, however, on the Douro is the scenery you will see as you leisurely relax on the sun deck of your ship. You may even see a fellow passenger transferring her scenic memories to watercolor in front of your eyes.
We're just arriving back in Porto. It's our final docking of the cruise.
It is time to return to Porto, disembark your ship and begin your journey home. The Douro River is a destination and journey that you will not soon forget. And many want to return to Portugal after this exciting itinerary. You will have memories of Portugal for a lifetime from this cruise. Thank you for watching a Media Mosaics video. If you enjoyed it, please like and subscribe. Your support means a lot. Stay tuned for more exciting content.